Mam guys, vipi?
Fiti sana brother.
Mko aje leo?
Niko fiti kabisa.
Committee, we are back again.
We are back again like we never left.
Chairman, treasurer, secretary.
Chairman.
Si uchange kila wiki.
Sio ndio chairman.
Ama hao ndio machairman.
Wale ndio wasema mashareholder ndio mashareholder wetu. Sisi tuko hapa hivi for them.
Twende.
Kuna vile mlicheza kaa nyinyi.
Mwaitisha saa 2
na mkafikisha saa 2 na ni kwenda mnaenda.
Unajua sometimes nataka kuambia tulikuwa 4. Unakuwa na mtu hapo nyuma ya kamera yetu Mungai. Hata ya kumconvince subscribe ilikuwa kazi.
Hiyo ndio ilikuwa kazi mingi.
Mimi nasema I'm so grateful.
Yes.
And the most beautiful thing about hii journey, content inatoka inside.
Ndio wanatuambia.
Natuambia
na kwanza
kufanya kazi rahisi.
Na kwanza leo ni ile day Kenya wamekuwa wakingoja. Leo ndio ile day.
Today is the day.
Leo tuko na mzito.
Leo
heavyweight.
Leo
champ.
Kuna ile topic fulani mmekuwa mkingoja.
Hata tu sanitize.
Acha tu sanitize juu hii topic hatuwezi handle tukiwa tu hivi ovyo.
But guys,
watu walikuwa wanakunyonga hii kitu.
Si imeandikwa 40%.
So
now sikia unapiga hivi tot. Unaamka after 2 weeks. Ina sanitize and dreams. Uoti. Malala tu hivi hakuna kitu unafanya. Mimi niko na pay advice. Unajua mimi nakogole msene na napiga research na kuletea.
Sio kwa legit ama.
Mimi siwezi taka uumie uanze kunipigia mafoni.
Basi.
Unaona? Leo mimi ni professor mtanisikia. Unaona hata niko na kipulne. Sasa
professor bangi pulne sawa.
So kama unataka kutreat yako poa, anza saa hii. Inaitwa system update. Same case na madem 2.0. Kama version mpya.
Nilikuwa najua tu kuna kiujinga unapika.
Kwa hivyo na madem, kama unataka kutreat chali yako fiti,
songa system yako.
Kama ukimwekea nini ma yogurt gummies, wacha hiyo system yezi update.
Badilisha wewe.
Wacha usidownload GB. Hata GB. Big original. Hivyo ndio advice moto.
But anyway, we are very grateful. Leo ni ile siku we had said that we are going to come and have a discussion about therapy with a psychologist. And here we are. So we are going to have a short discussion with her regarding the topics we had. This episode might be a bit different. It might be more of her talking than us.
For the first time.
For the first time and sisi tunaongea.
Mmezimwa.
Hata tunyamaze for words.
Tunapiga kelele sana. Sijaiweza kukaa.
Kuna ndugu hapa.
Kuna jamaa huyu ana shida asipoongea.
Eza vanini? Pamba.
Itabidi tu tukuweke kitu kimouth guard.
Kama mask.
The other thing about this episode is that it might be quite long. So there is a good chance that we'll spill it over into 2 episodes. So mkiona tumemalizia halfway through, just know that the second part of it will come later, because again we realize that therapy is not just like a small discussion you can have in 20 minutes. So it might be a bit longer, and it might also not go to just be 1 episode. Zitakuwa 2 episodes. So yeah, just be patient. You'll see the full thing. So wadau,
tuingie siku hata mimi hata niko na kitabu.
Unajua kitabu
kila mtu abebe kitabu.
Download notes.
today, well, we won't be the ones doing much of the talking. Yeah, so what do you have in store for us today?
As you can see, we have a guest today. She's more like a mother to us, but more than that, she's a psychologist. We had said that we'll bring a psychologist who is going to help us expound on some of the issues that we've been talking about. And here she is, so we'll let her introduce herself. Yeah.
Right, thank you so much. My name is Mercy Chege. I am a psychologist, like these sons of mine have said. And we have a long history together in church, at home, and we like each other's company. So I'm a counseling psychologist. My master's degree is in counseling psychology. But more than that, I work in child and youth development with Plan International. And I'm really happy to be here today talking to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us and helping us talk about these issues. So I think we'll just get straight into it. We'll see us looking at these papers a lot because we have the questions that were asked. So that's why, by the committee members, wanakamati. So one of the questions that was asked was about friendship, the role of friendship in as a form of therapy, and why someone needs to go to a therapist when they can talk to their friends, and their friends are much more like they know them more than a therapist will be a complete stranger to them. So is there a difference? Like, can we just not go to therapy and talk to our friends?
I think both friendship and therapy are very important.
Okay.
And being with friends and talking about a situation or an issue that is affecting you is equally therapeutic. Like, I use the same word.
Okay.
But it cannot replace professional therapy because friends are not trained therapists. So if you come to me and I'm your friend, I'm likely to tell you, I was in a situation like that one, and this is what I did. The problem with that is that I'm not you, and you're not me. And what works for me may not necessarily work for you. So I probably will mislead you. You will go and try what I did, and you come back disappointed most of the time because it doesn't work for you. And that is the problem. And in other situations, what I did may not necessarily have been the best thing to be done. One of the things that we all need to realize is that each one of us has the competencies and the ability to overcome any situation. And all you need is someone to handhold you as you walk, but not walk the path for you. Because then that is disabling. But helping you realize your inner potential to resolve an issue makes you stronger. And next time you have a problem, you don't have to go back. You continue. If I tell you what I did and you get over it, it might work for you. Let's assume it worked for you. And you continue and you say, it really worked for me. But when you get into another situation that is totally different, you still have to come back to me. So you're dependent on me. But if I make you realize, for example, let's say, take a very practical example. Let's assume that you got into a fight with one of your best friends. And you felt so bad about it because it broke a relationship that you value. So you come to me and I give you advice on what I would do or what I did in the past to overcome a situation like that one. As a friend now. And you go back, maybe I tell you to go and apologize and buy flowers and buy chocolate and that kind of a thing. And you go and do exactly that and things become, things get back to normal and you continue. So next time you have a problem with your mom or your dad, you don't know what to do. You can't buy the chocolate.
You can't solve it the same way.
You can't use the same chocolate. I know it would look ridiculous going to your dad with chocolate. But if I came and told you, let's think about the sequence of events that led to the quarrel. And we analyze the whole situation and how you reacted and how your friend reacted. And I tell you, maybe where you might have made a mistake is where you did this, and probably if you reacted differently, then the situation would have been different. So I've given you an insight that probably you responded too fast, maybe you did not consider the other person's feelings, maybe you did not acknowledge their pain or their hurt, you didn't apologize, and you say, yeah, maybe if I had apologized, maybe if I had not reacted so fast, maybe if I had not said this, it would have worked. Yeah. Next time you get angry, you will not react so fast, whether it is with your friend, whether it's with your mom or with your dad, and that happens to work. So advice does not work, not all the time. But somebody helping you to look inward and draw some strengths about you that might help you in multiple situations is what might work. That's the difference between friendship and counseling. Because counselors will never give you advice. Only a quack will give you advice. Only a quack will tell you, I did this and it worked, go and do it. But they'll tell you, I did this. It may not work for you, but it means that you have the ability. If I did it, you also can do it. And this is why, these are the strengths I see in you that you can exploit. But a friend will just come to tell you, you need to do this. Or just avoid it. Ignore it. After 3 days, she'll talk to you.
Now that you mentioned quack.
That's what it is.
Now that you mentioned quack, there was a comment, proper feedback, someone asking that people don't actually know the difference between a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and that was the first question. But then now the second part was, before now you're not at a level when you want to seek therapy. How do you know? How do you differentiate if this person is legit? It's a quack.
Interesting. So I'll start with the psychiatrist versus the psychologist. A psychiatrist is a medical doctor.
Okay.
So you go to them and you can't sleep, they'll give you sleeping pills.
Okay.
Because that is what they're trained for.
Sure.
And that, according to them, they'll help you relax. And then after you relax, you might be able to, wake up in the morning feeling better and maybe able to face the day. Problem with that is that if it is not accompanied by a process that helps you to resolve the issues, you might be dependent on medication. So a good psychiatrist will pair you up with a psychologist. Because then the psychologist is helping you process the emotions that are making you not sleep. But the medication in severe cases becomes necessary because if you don't sleep, then there are other physiological issues. You get sick, physically, like you can get sick if you don't sleep. So in acute cases of distress, you see a psychiatrist to prescribe the medication to help you calm down and to prevent other consequences, other physiological issues.
Also, a psychiatrist
is a medical doctor. Yes.
So when your psychological issues have started translating into physiological issues.
Exactly. Yeah, we call them the psychosomatic disorders. When they start developing some physiological problems, like when you have these headaches that can't go away, because maybe you're in a situation that is very distressful. So then you have to get the medication. You have to have, and a psychologist cannot they are not supposed to prescribe medication. A psychiatrist would do that. Somebody who is trained in medicine should do that. A psychologist will help you to process the emotions that are bringing the psychological issues that are leading you to take the medication. And sometimes you don't have to go to it doesn't have to be like you're so sick for you to go and see a counselor or a psychologist. You don't have to be sick. So when you're referred to a psychiatrist, you're sick. You're actually going to hospital. When you're referred to a psychologist, you're just having a lot of emotions that are not resolved. You don't have to go to hospital. And you don't have to be referred by a doctor to go and see a psychiatrist, or you can actually take yourself. You can refer yourself and just say, the way I'm feeling today, I cannot process these emotions. I am angry, I'm hurting, I'm frustrated, I can't move. And sometimes you have some other disorders like you cannot sleep properly, what we call insomnia, you cannot feed properly, or you have eating disorders, you're eating too much or you're eating very little.
Okay.
So now you say, before it gets pathological, before now this becomes a disease, can I go and seek counseling? And sometimes it's just your relationships that are not working.
Yeah.
Your relationship with yourself, your relationship with others, things are just not working.
Yeah.
So you decide, let me go and seek help. A psychologist should be able to refer you to a psychiatrist.
Okay.
If they realize that the level of distress cannot be helped only by the talk therapy.
Yeah. Okay.
So they can refer you to a psychiatrist for assessment and probably for medication. And what happens is that the two work together, so that if, for example, you're going for counseling, so you're going to see your psychologist, then there is a way that the psychiatrist can reduce your medication so that by the time you go to see your psychologist, you're in touch with your feelings. Because the problem with things like antidepressants is that they make you, they make you relax so much that sometimes you don't get in touch with your feelings because you're so relaxed.
Okay.
But that doesn't take away the problem. So for you to be in touch with your feelings, to be able to process them, then that management and that balance is needed.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have to work together. But that is in cases of distress. In usual relationship management and all that, you just go and see a psychologist. You go and see a counselor.
Okay.
You go and refer yourself.
Okay.
And it can be maybe group, as a group you go sit together. If you're going through the same issue, for example, let's say that as the friends, the three of you, if you lost somebody very significant, very close to you, you can decide, let's go and process this together.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just an individual issue, and you feel like I'm not coping very well with life, or I have a problem with my relationships, I have a problem with my job, why am I not coping with my post? And you can just take yourself and go. And it's really talk therapy. A good counselor, a good psychologist should be able to help you, not with advice, not with solutions, but with drawing out from within you the strengths that will make you cope with the situation that you're facing.
And so that
that's
to the
question.
skills.
Yeah. So we're not supposed to be, I'm sorry about that.
Fast out at me.
Yes, we're surprised that you're going through that. A good psychologist, a good counselor is one who is able to say that I may not completely understand what you're going through, but I can imagine that it must be painful. So it's like going down a hole, yeah? You're down there, and there's somebody on the outside who can get you out of there. The only way they can get you out of there is coming down to lift you. If by calling you up you can't come up, yeah, then they need to come down and lift you. But they're not supposed to come down and sit down with you and start lamenting. So they're supposed to come down, and the two of you are supposed to support you to come up. That is what a counselor is supposed to do.
Also, having said, you said everybody is capable of dealing with problems.
We have what it takes.
We have what it takes.
Yes.
So is there a challenge where people are now dependent on
The ability.
the psychologist?
Psychologist.
Because someone asked what is therapy and at what proper time.
I think we kind of preempted the definition of what is therapy in itself.
Our challenge where people now are totally dependent. Every arising issue anakimbia.
Yes. Actually, there is a big problem if after 2, 3, 4 sessions you're still calling your psychologist because you cannot resolve the same issue like the one you had yesterday. There's a big problem because that sense of dependency means that either the counselor themselves, what I was telling you, you are deep in the hole, and the two of you sit down to lament down there. So there are people who
you're not solving anything.
Yes, you're not solving anything. I'm just sympathizing with you. As a good psychologist is not supposed to be sympathetic. They're supposed to be empathetic. And there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Empathy is where I feel with you. But sympathy, I feel for you, and I come right there and we sit down and you tell me that your relationships are not working, and I start telling you, even mine are not working. So you that is called enmeshment. Because there needs to be very, very defined boundaries. And by the time somebody goes to a psychologist, a psychologist should know this is not about me. And this is not something that I'm not supposed to be here to also relieve my pain and start dealing with it in somebody else's session. You know, the sessions are paid for most of the time. So you cannot pay me to come and sit down so that I can also go through therapy. That is unethical. And they're not even supposed to give you advice. Because like I said, advice does not work for everybody. And what works for me doesn't work for you. If I self-disclose, because that is what we call it in psychology, if I self-disclose, it's for you to know that you're not alone in that journey, and other people like myself have been there, and we have been out. So how did I do it? I can even share that with you. But I'm not telling you to go and do it. I'm only telling you it is possible. So then I explore with you, how would it work for you? Not for me. It has to be how it works for you. Yes. So now that question about what is therapy? Therapy is I don't want to use big words. Therapy is catharsis. Something that you like bringing out something that is unpleasant, an unpleasant emotion. An emotion that is, let me call it negative. You're able to bring it out in a very safe environment and it leaves you feeling better. So therapy is supposed to make you feel better. It's not supposed to make you feel sorry for the counselor. It is not supposed to be making you feel sorry for yourself. It's supposed to be helping you to feel better about the what took you there for that 1 or 2 hours you were there. You come out feeling better and more positive and more determined to live on and to resolve the issue. Therapy is not a solution giving episode where I give you the solutions on how to work. When this happens, do this. When this happens, there's nothing like that. It is when this happens and you feel so angry, like I was telling you another day. What do you do if you get so angry and every time you get angry, you hit somebody? You count 1 to 10 from the back. By the time you get, you 10 to 1. By the time you get to 1, you have actually controlled your anger. And when you behave differently, that is therapeutic. You see now I'm making progress. I did not hit anyone, I did not shout at anyone, I didn't say something bad to someone, and I was faced by the same situation. I could have chosen to get angry. But because I've been going to therapy and I've been made to realize where I am overreacting and have been given a skill that I can use, then I behave differently and I feel good about myself.
So what you're saying is that therapy is kind of like a lesson.
It's a healing.
It's where you learn skills that enable you to to deal with whatever you're going through.
Or something that makes you realize strengths in you that you can use. Skills that you can use, strengths in you that you can use to resolve life's problem.
And from what you've said, I have one question. We have had cases of people who go to psychologists and they come out feeling worse. And you find now people start blaming the psychologist, saying that maybe the method that they used did not work for me. Now they are worse off. It becomes a challenge. That is one challenge that people are actually
that's true.
And now they become anti-therapists.
And they can't even have the courage to face. Maybe there's a better psychologist for them. They still have the same mentality. So the first one messed me up.
There's what we call expectations. And every time we go for a session, or especially the first session, if you do not set the expectations, you might be disappointed. Because you see, if you have never been to a counseling office or a psychologist's office, and you appear there and you're in total distress, and you're expecting by the time I come out after this one session, I'll be feeling better, I will have all the solutions. Imagine you'll be disappointed. And that is why most people get disappointed. Expectations. a good psychologist should be able to tell you they don't have solutions. And they should tell you the sessions are not about solutions. It's not about advice. And it's not about guiding you in a certain direction. Because all those three are unethical. According to the counseling practice. So, anybody promising you a solution will disappoint you because that may not be the solution that you're looking for. And there are very many ways into getting an issue resolved. And therefore, you can choose one and not the other. And I shouldn't influence the choices that you make. I should empower you to know that whatever choice you make, you're strong enough to go by it. And you bear the consequences. Okay? So like if we came here and we discussed like the incidents I had said about a friendship that has gone bad, and we keep and we explore all the options that you have, and you decide, I think from the way I know her, this is the option that I have, that this is the one that would work best. And that is from experience, because one of the things that a good counselor should ask, have you ever been in a situation like this before with anyone else or with that person? And then you say yes. How did you resolve it? I did this, we did this, we did this. So do you think that would work now? And you would say, no, it can't work now because there is this problem. And then what else can you do differently? So it worked up to some point. So what can you do differently? I think I can do this. I should let you to go and try that out. What you think should work. And I can't tell you, no, just go buy flowers. If she likes flowers for her birthday, yes, because by then, what if she just loves flowers on her birthday, but not any other day? Then you took her to flowers, and she's like, "It's not my birthday." She closes the door.
You and your flowers.
Then I come back.
It didn't work. That's the problem. So why people get out of therapy feeling bad is because maybe the expectations that they had were not met, and therefore the expectations were not agreed, the boundaries were not agreed upon during the contracting. So a good psychologist should actually enter into a formal contract, not the one for signing, but it says this is my role and this is your role, and you have got to do the hard work. For me, I am facilitating. But the hard work is really yours. Yes.
You have to be willing.
You have to be willing. And that is why when, for example, like for us parents, when we force you, like, go for counseling, and I drive you there and I tell you, this is the counselor, sit down, resolve your issues.
How?
It won't work.
Why?
Because I have to realize I need help. That is the first step towards healing. I need help. And then I come and tell me where I can get the help. I am willing. What before you get there,
even psychologically you're a step ahead.
That's a thing. Before you get there, it won't work. The only time that I will take you to a doctor and insist is when I'm taking you to a psychiatrist, because you have slipped into a depression and you cannot make that decision yourself. You're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not coming out of your bedroom, you're not, you can tell, the telltale signs of approaching depression. Now that time I'll take you. And first of all, you have to go through the medication, then you're linked with the psychologist, and for the psychologist, you can only go when you're ready to. And when you're willing to.
But as a patient, I think most people put a time frame to their healing. Like what you were talking about, expectations. Now I come to you expecting that in 2 weeks I'm supposed to feel some type of way.
That is, you're right. Now that is something else that can disappoint you. Because people keep on asking, how many sessions do I have to go to before I start feeling better? And this happens a lot in grief. People are so willing to go through, because it's so painful, people are so willing to go through therapy to get over their grief. And then you go, and after one session, you come out feeling worse. You know why you come out feeling worse? Because it's like you have started now cleaning a wood.
Now you're starting to face the problem head on.
And when you're cleaning a wound that is fresh, it's painful.
It is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we might continue, and the wound starts healing, and you start feeling better. And then one day something else happens.
Yeah.
You see, let's say you lost, let's say, a sister.
Yeah.
And then the next day you see an auntie who looks exactly like your sister.
Okay, yeah.
You know, family members resemble.
Yeah.
And the wound starts bleeding again. And you're like, I thought I paid 10,000 for 10 sessions. And I'm crying all over. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But that's not the issue.
Yeah.
That is the journey.
Yeah.
And especially in grief counseling, we give to a maximum of 1.5 years for somebody to feel the pain before you can say, I have actually moved. And I wouldn't be worried somebody grieving for a year. It's very normal.
Okay.
If you grieve for 2 years, it now becomes, chronic. And it becomes almost like a disease. It means that you're not processing your emotions. But before, 3 months and you're crying and people are like, you're still crying. 3 months. Even the grave is dry, the flowers are dry. It's not the issue. Or you happen to do something that, for example, if somebody passed on and you buried them in shards, you came back, and then over Christmas you go back and you see the grave and you start crying, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it's not like therapy did not work. No. It's just as those triggers are there. And it is normal. Until such a time now when you can be able to go through that, and a good therapist will go with you maybe for like 10 sessions, give you a break. If it is not a depression, give you a break. Then you go and stay for like a month or 2 months, you can agree, visit this place, do something you used to do together, like that. And then see how you experience that. If it becomes very distressful, it's not the first tear that takes you back. It is the possibility of not being able to process that emotion as fast that should take you back. But if you cry after a month and you then tell them, I cried, but after a few days I decided to call up my mom, find out how she's doing, and when I felt she was okay, and I didn't have to come back. After that, it goes, you space it in such a way that finally you don't have to go. You're able to process.
I think the key word from what you say, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's not a one-off. And some therapies go on for years. Especially where you have to do with childhood memories that can disturb you. Some people who grow up thinking their parents hated them. And when you're an adult, you start feeling discriminated against, even at work. And your employer sends you to counseling and says, if you don't go for 10 sessions, which are paid for by the organization, you're looking at growing up. And you go and discover your parents and issues and relationships. That can go on for longer.
Speaking of parents' issues, we'll just take a short break and then we'll be back.